Hi and welcome to a series of lectures on how to control the mouse and the keyboard via a Python script. So you can move the mouse, you can do clicks and copy text, drag the mouse, and you can also type in text via Python script, move the mouse and type in text in a program which is currently open on the screen. And we're going to do all that using a third-party library which is very popular for these kinds of automations, and it's called PyAutoGUI. So the first thing we want to do is open the terminal and do pip install PyAutoGUI, one word. That should install PyAutoGUI, and I'm going to create a Python script where I'll show you some of the most used features on how to control the mouse with Python. So I'm going to name this mouse.py. Later we're going to practice what you learn in these lectures. We're going to practice with a series of practical programs. So now let me take you through PyAutoGUI for controlling the mouse. So import PyAutoGUI. And now we're going to write a series of instructions which will control the cursor on the screen. We're going to write some code which gives us the current position of the cursor in pixel coordinates, so depending on the screen resolution where the cursor is, and then we're going to move the cursor to a specific position. So if we want to move it to this file, we're going to move it to that file, and then I'll show you how to click that file, how to double click it as well, also how to perform a right click so that you see the context menu here, and I'll also show you how to drag the cursor, which could be useful if you want to draw something on a canvas, on a painting app via Python. So let's start. Let's get the position. The current position would be PyAutoGUI.position. And basically every other method is like this. You just access the methods directly from PyAutoGUI. And just print out the position and you'll see what this is. So I'm right-clicking here and run my file. And that's the position at the moment of the script execution. So for example, if I have my cursor somewhere near the left upper corner in here, and now I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut to run my code so that I don't move the cursor to the run button. So I'm going to use, in my case, you see that my shortcut is Ctrl-R to execute my Python script. So I'm going to place the cursor somewhere here and press Ctrl-R to execute Python. And so these are the positions. X is 35 and Y is 36. Let's go a little bit down, somewhere in here. Execute the script again. So X is 55, Y is 227. And so the position changes with the cursor. You see that 55 means from the vertical side in here up to here, and then 227 from here to here. So those are the coordinates. Now, why do we need these coordinates? Well, if you want to click over a particular position now, for example, let me create a text file, sample.txt, and just write some pairs are good, some dummy text in here. Now, if you want Python to go to this file, we want to know the position of the cursor first, and then we want to apply the next methods of PyAutoGUI. So what I'll do is I'll know now the position of sample.txt by running the script with Ctrl-R. So 139, 200. And now I can use the py_auto_GUI dot move to method to move the mouse to a pair of absolute coordinates. So these are absolute coordinates. Their absolute origin is this corner here. So we want to move the cursor to 139, 280. So it doesn't matter now where my current position of the cursor is. I can just run this script and Python will move the cursor to sample.txt. As you see now, the cursor is here. You can make this process more natural by adding a duration argument and set it to a number of seconds. For example, 1 second, and see what's going to happen now. So I'll run the script and Python will move the mouse to that position during the length of 1 second. So the transition was smoother this time. If you want to click that file, you would apply the click method, just like that. So run the script as it is. Python will move the cursor to that file and it will click it. Now note that this was not a double click. If you want to perform a double click, then you could do clicks is equal to 2. So you want to do 2 clicks. And the file is open here in the editor. Alternatively, you can also use py_auto_GUI.doubleclick, and you don't have to write that clicks equal to 2. So that will do the same thing. I can demonstrate that. Double click and the file opens. So let's keep that one. If you want to click over a particular position, we can do that by using coordinates. So py_auto_GUI.click, and then we provide the coordinates. For example, 139, 280. So in that case, we don't have to move the mouse to a position first. All you have to do is just provide the coordinates to the click method and the click will happen. So when you don't provide coordinates, Python will click at the current position. So it clicked at the current position, which was this one in here. So the move to method moved the cursor to the current position, that position, and the click method clicked that current position. But if you want to just click there and you say clicks equal to 2, the same thing will happen, of course. So the sample.txt file is opened. And of course, you didn't see any movement of the mouse because we don't have, obviously, a move to method now. It's commented. Now you know that a mouse has a left button and a right button. It also has a middle button in certain mouses. And you need the right click button if you want to see the context menu. Now, you can perform a right click by doing py_auto_GUI.click, give the position where you want to click again, and then specify what button do you want to press. So by default, the click method presses the left button. So when you press the left button or you double press it, then you are doing a common click. With the right button, you will want to specify right here if you want to change the default behavior of the click method. So if you run this script now, and so nothing happened because I am on a Mac computer here. If you are on Windows, this probably worked. On Mac, you have to change this slightly. So this was about right click on Windows. On Mac, you'll have to write py_auto_GUI and then use the drag to method. Honestly, I'm not sure why the drag to method works in this case. And if this is an expected behavior of py_auto_GUI or just a bug, but it works. So, but it works. So again, the coordinates 280, and then the button should be right also for drag to. And also you want to first do a normal click in those coordinates, so a left click, and then do the drag to method. So this is only for Mac users. If I run this script now, you'll see the context menu showing up. This one in here. So that's something to keep in mind depending on your operating system. You can also move your cursor relatively to the current position. So let me comment these out and maybe add the code in here. So py_auto_GUI move is the new method. So we used move to, and then we can use move. So let's move the cursor to the absolute position first, to this position, and then move it 100 pixels to the right and perhaps 0 vertically, and add a duration of 1 and execute. So yeah, as you see, the cursor went to the absolute position first and then it went to right. So that could be handy in certain occasions when you want to do something depending on the previous position of the cursor. And the last method I want to show you is the drag method, and we're going to draw something using that method on a painting app. For your convenience, I would suggest you to open your browser and go to jspaint.app. That's an app where you can draw simple figures. So I have opened my browser here on the side, so I suggest you to keep your IDE on one side and the browser on the other side. So that's jspaint.app. You can expand this drawing area if you want, and then you can just drag your cursor like that. So you press it, you hold it, and you drag it, and you normally will draw something. Now, how can we perform the same behavior through our Python script? Well, for that, we're going to use the drag method. But first, let's find out the starting position of the cursor. So let's say we want to draw a line starting from here up to here. So what is the position in this point? Well, now without moving my cursor, I want to use, on a Mac is the context switcher, where I press Command and Tab and I go to PyCharm without moving the cursor, and then I press Ctrl R to execute the script. On Windows, you should press the Windows key, as far as I remember, and the tab to switch between applications without using your mouse, and then use Ctrl R or whatever button combination you have to run your script. So I forgot to print out the position, so let me print the position here and maybe comment this out. I just want to know the position of the cursor at this point, so I'm going to repeat the process again. Go to PyCharm without using the mouse, Ctrl R to run the script, position, and then I want to repeat the process. So take the cursor in here, go to PyCharm using the context switch without using your cursor, your mouse, and then Ctrl R to run the script, and that will give me the position of the cursor. So now I want to say py_auto_GUI.move to. So we first take the cursor to that place, 26 and 5, 6, 7. Those are the coordinates in my case. Let's set a duration of 1. And then you want to click there. You know, you could also avoid the move to methods and just put those coordinates directly to the click method If you don't want to see the movement of the cursor, it's up to you. And then finally, we use the drag method. So we want to say, for example, 150, 0, duration is 1 second, button is left. If this doesn't work, try with the right button. So sometimes it depends on the operating system, but I'm going to execute this now. The cursor goes there and the line is drawn by Python. And just like that, you can duplicate that line and say 0 here, minus 150. You know, the line is drawn again. You go up and then maybe add another line, minus 100, 0. Let's see what we'll get this time. Up to there, and maybe you want to go down, or maybe change that to minus 150, and then duplicate again and say 0 for that, 150 for that. And there we draw a square. And that's what I wanted to teach you in this lecture. So this should give you a kickstart of controlling the mouse with PyAutoGUI, or PyAutoGUI if you like. Now we're going to practice this further by writing some more real-world programs, but in the next video I'll show you also how to control the keyboard of your computer via Python, so that you can type in text in an area where text can be typed, and then use hotkeys, so combinations of keyboard shortcuts to perform actions on your computer and so on. So I'll talk to you in the next video. See you.